Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Mugello for the second race of the weekend in the Ultimate GT Sprint Cup here as part of the Ultimate Cup European Series. Second round of the championship. And as you can see already, the conditions are a little bit gloomier than they were in the past. There's still patches of blue sky around, so there still is going to be a decent amount of heat, as you can see actually from the shot there, looking down the grid. Plenty of heat haze still making its way across the circuit. The cars are just on their way out of the pit lane now, one by one, to make their way round to the grid. They will then line up. We'll have our warm-up lap, our formation lap, and then they will have a rolling start here for their second race of the weekend. There's 4 races this weekend for this category. They're back on track again tomorrow at 9 AM, and then again just before 4 PM in the afternoon. And this is how they line up on the grid. It is... Actually, that is, I believe, partly the the LMP3 grid that was out last time round. But it's Alexis Berthet in the Lamborghini on pole position. Stéphane Perrin alongside him on that front row. We then have Patrick Michelier in the Ferrari in 3rd position. 4th place, Andreas Boris in car 351. That's one of the 488 challenge cars. Andrei Zafiratos is in the Porsche, car 57. Then it's car 357, Simone Conte starting in 6th position. We didn't have him out in the earlier race, so I'm intrigued to see whether that car does come and line up on the grid for this one. He's with the SR&R squad, and I believe in the Ferrari, so we should see. And then coming to the 4th row, we have Pierre Arau. He's driving the Audi R8, the GT4 specification Audi R8. Wonderful. 1 and 3 by the look of it, with his teammate Moreira doing races 2 and 4. Then we have Maurizio Fondi. He takes over at the wheel of car 350. I think it was Emilio Rocchi that was driving that car earlier on, because the 333, yes, it is the 350 that he's driving for this one. And then we have Mardine Benjamin alongside him, who is in the number 69 Ferrari F430. That's the challenge car spec, so it's not got the big wings and splitters and things on it. It just looks like a road-going Ferrari F430 that somebody's put a racing livery on, but it's very much not the case. It's a purpose-built race car underneath. And then the back row of the grid will be Gregoire Benedet in the car number 96. That's another Ferrari F430. And then Paolo Ruberti, who's taking over from the race 1 winning car, Lyle Schofield, in the Ferrari 296. Absolutely dominated the first race of the day. And now we're going to see whether his teammate can basically do the same, but can he do that from the back of the grid? The pace of some of the front runners was very strong last time, so we'll see whether he can match that. There's 351, driven in this race by Andreas Boris. 4th position on the grid alongside its almost sister car, the Ferrari 296, driven by Patrick Michelier. But it's exciting to see what the Alexis Berthet Lamborghini can do from pole position. Run here this weekend by CMR. They've got those 2 cars out on the circuit, the Lamborghini and the Ferrari, 37 and 73, both starting on the right-hand side of the grid. And you can see the 2 Porsches in the middle of the pack. We've got the 57 car of Zafiratos, and then number 8, which is, of course, Jeremy Moreira for this race. A couple of GT4 cars in the field, so they should be of a similar pace and similar specification. But obviously the drivers and teams, they develop these cars for this series in particular, knowing this is what their remit is going to be for the 2025 season. And while I did say earlier that it was definitely not as sunny as it was this morning, there is a massive amount of heat haze blowing across the circuit, you can see there. So it'll be intriguing to see. I don't think whether the tyre life will really come into it over the course of 25 minutes, but you never know with these drivers if they really push it too hard. I'm told by Claire we've got an interview coming up soon. Just bear with us and we'll have a driver on camera and see if we can have a quick chat with them. And it will be Stéphane Perrin from the 888 car, starting on the front row of the grid. So definitely within a fight, and he had a fight with the CMR Lamborghini in the first race. Apologies, no, it was not the CML Lamborghini. It was the 73 CML Ferrari that he had a fight with in the early stages of race 1 just earlier. I'm intrigued to see whether they can reignite that fight here. And now let's head down onto the grid, shall we? And let's speak to one of the front runners, Stéphane Perrin.
I have come down to Seb Lejeune car, Triple Ed. It's Stéphane Perrin. We're going to be really, really quick because I've got about 2 minutes. How are we feeling?
I feel good. We can try to fight with Lamborghini, but we have a little bit difference in the powers, and we can fight on the straight. And yeah, I hope to fight as much as possible. Yeah.
All right, good luck, Stéphane.
Thank you.
Right, we will go racing. We've got a couple of moments to get off the grid now. We're going to let Stéphane get away, the Triple A car. Let's see how this goes today. Cloud cover coming over as well, so we're going to see a bit of rain.
Thank you very much, Claire. You never really know here at Mugello, do you? It's like the weather is just waiting over the hills to pounce down on the circuit, on the teams and drivers. And she's absolutely right. There's even more of it to the south of the circuit here, and it's looking a lot more grey over there. So we'll see. We'll see. As Claire and I discussed on there yesterday during the Prototype Sprint Cup, it can obviously change the race quite a lot having a bit of drizzle, but not to a point where it completely ruins everything and causes loads of accidents and red flags and things. So we'll see how this all comes to fruition, shall we? Just a couple of moments left before the cars all get released on their warm-up lap. 1 minute board is in the air. A very unique pit lane horn here at Mugello sounds down the pit lane and across the start-finish straight. And now all of the personnel make their way off the grid. The cars will shortly be led around the circuit by the Maserati safety car. And it'll be the Lamborghini on pole position with Alexis Berthet at the wheel. Alexis is a bronze categorized driver, and he has the Porsche driven by Stéphane Perrin alongside him. Don't have his categorization to hand, but I think Stéphane is also a bronze driver. Like he said there to Claire, it's a slight power difference that makes the main sort of, well, difference, funnily enough, between the Lamborghini and the Porsche. Two fantastic looking race cars, though, as you can see there. Lovely, lovely machines. The Porsche, the 992 iteration of the Porsche GT3 Cup car. Not to GT3 specification, despite the name. It's just what Porsche tend to call their high-performance versions of the 911. And then the Lamborghini is a Huracan Super Trofeo car, but it's the Evo 2 version. They've gradually sort of evolved the car, hence the name, time and time again. They seem to add more and more aerodynamic surfaces onto them every single time, but they always look fantastic, as does that thing on our screen right now, the wonderful Ferrari F430 GT. It is a car that you will hear me go on about many more times over this weekend, with the 2 additional 25-minute races to come after this. The field now weaving slightly to get a bit of temperature in the tyres. You can see the main differences there actually between the two F430s. The challenge car not quite as wide as the GT spec machine. Both the same car underneath really, based on the F430 chassis with the same engine, just obviously turned up a bit in the GT car, and then the additional aerodynamics doing a lot of the work. So it's Alexis Berthet and Stéphane Perrin on the front row. And it's Patrick Michellier alongside Andreas Boris in the Ferrari. Andrei Zefiratos then lines up next to Simone Conti. He is in the 357 car. Like I said, didn't see him out in race 1, so you can see him there actually. He is out on the circuit. Now it's a 458 challenge car, that, not a 488 like a lot of its teammates. So the 350 car, the 333, which should have been here this weekend as well, is also a 488, but the 458, even older version of these challenge cars. Great looking bit of kit still, just a little bit older. It's great to have 3 different generations of Ferrari challenge cars actually on the grid. And now the field will bunch up behind the safety car. They will go 2x2 formation. I've just noticed as well, it doesn't look like we actually have Paolo Roberti at the back of the grid. I did wonder when they left the grid whether the F430 was at the very back, and it does seem like that 296 is not going to be out there. So the race-winning car from race 1 will not be joining us for this second race of the weekend. Now the field builds up speed. They all close in together, and the second Ultimate GT Sprint Cup race of the weekend gets underway, and it's an immediately good start by Simone Conti. Tries to go to the left-hand side of his teammate. They all now rise up over the hill. The Lamborghini stretches its legs down to turn 1, and it is the third place Ferrari of Michele that now moves up into second. Porsche instantly wanted to come back at him. Perrin back down the inside. They remain side by side up towards turn 2. Into turn 3, tries to carry the pace around the outside. That'll give him the inside for the next corner. Nicely done by Perrin. Gives lots of room on the apex though. And that now means that the Ferrari can slot back in, maybe get a run down towards the next corner. We'll see whether he gets that done. Car 350 trying to make his way through. That's Maurizio Fondi. He's got the number 8 Porsche of Jeremy Moreira right in front of him. 2 drivers that didn't compete in the earlier race. So this is their first race of the weekend. They've done previous sessions before this, of course. But it doesn't look like Perrin has been re-overtaken there by Patrick Michele. He's got that place back. There's a GT4 battle emerging here, which is the Audi of Pierre Arau. And he's all of a sudden under attack from Jeremy Moreira. Jeremy's gone from being the defending car to the attacking car. One of these machines rear-engined, obviously the Porsche Cayman. Although usually the road cars for the Caymans a bit more towards the mid-engined layout. The Audi, of course, mid-engined as well. Runs on the same 5.2 litre V10 engine as the Lamborghini Huracan at the front of the field, but just tuned down to GT4 specification. They're both going to be at a slight pace disadvantage to Fondi just behind them in that Ferrari. You could see he was looking around, trying to find somewhere to squeeze through. Didn't really have the room to make a move. He might try something now, although no. Moreira's down the inside into the final corner, and he's actually found a gap down the inside of the 64 machine. Slides through at turn 15, and now the Ferrari behind can stretch its legs. Look at it go down the straight. Catapults itself past the Audi as the leaders have made their way through then. So it's Berthet leading in the Lamborghini from Perrin in the Porsche. Then it's a Ferrari of Michele. Another Ferrari, Andreas Boris, 351 ahead of Simone Conti. Jeremy Moreira now is behind that with Maurizio Fondi. Well, actually just overtaking him into turn 1 as I look away from the timing screen. Looked like Fondi wasn't quite, you could say, as fond of turn 1 as the Porsche though. He seemed a little bit less confident through there. It's more the straight line speed of the Ferrari that's going to save his bacon on this occasion. The Audi again under attack in the background too. That Audi being driven, of course, by Pierre Arau. It's got another Porsche in the mix, which is Andrei Zefiratos. Now, Zefiratos lost a lot of places off the start. Started 5th on the grid here, and he's down to 9th. Really didn't have the getaway that he would have wanted. But at the moment, it's the Ferrari challenge car trying to stay ahead of the Porsche. Seems to me like Moreira is a lot more confident through some of these high-speed corners. It looks like Fondi's just a bit more hesitant to throw the car in. There's a look to the inside by Zefiratos. Trying what he can do on Arau in the Audi. It's one of the later versions of the Audi R8 GT4 as well that Arau is driving. It's got the updated front end on it where they've got a slightly different bumper layout with all the vents and little aerodynamic flicks. But it's still, after 2 laps, Berthet at the front, Stefan Perrin second position. They're trading purple sectors though. Alexis Berthet did purple in 1 and 3. Stefan Perrin did a purple sector 2 that time round. There was only 0.3 of a second between their lap times. And Perrin is just 1.4 seconds off off the race leader. Patrick Michellier still holding on to third, but he's got about 4 seconds to the cars ahead, so he's not in direct competition with them right now. Here's that battle a bit further down as Arrow down the inside has a Porsche. Zafiratos throws the car up the inside, and now the number 69 as well wanting to come through too. That is Mardine Benjamin. Tries to close the Audi off at the apex, gets round him nicely. Great to see that Ferrari up and in the fight. It's great, we've got a flat 6 against a V8 against a V10 here. Despite the fact they're all mid-engine, they're all very different cars. The Porsche as well, I'm just trying to find out what version of the Porsche that is, because it's not the 718 Cayman. I believe it's one of the older versions. I'm just trying to find the exact type. Because, like I say, the 718 is the one that everybody wants. I'll try and find that. But still, it's great to see it out on circuit. Great to see the 2 iterations of it as well. Here's the battle for the lead then. This is Alexis Berthet. He's done a purple sector 2. Now Stefan Perrin's taken that away from him. Personal best from Stefan Perrin. And it is quicker than Alexis Berthet. He's now 1.3 seconds behind. So he's given him a good chase here. Really using the aerodynamics of that beautiful Porsche 911 GT3 Cup 992. Rolls off the tongue. With the Lamborghini Huracan Super Trofeo Evo 2, equally roll off the tongue sort of name just ahead. And as you can see, there's quite the gap back to third position. There's a bit of daylight between some of these battles here. There's only 1/10 of a second between Maurizio Fondi and Jeremy Moreira. That's the Ferrari Challenge car, trying to stay ahead of the Porsche GT4. The cloud cover is still very apparent here as well. It's not getting any warmer out there. I'm glad that we took a load of pictures this morning. The 69 car is getting a black and white flag for track limits down at turn 15. We look there at its sister car, the number 96. Such a beautiful machine, the F430 GT. Like I said in the previous race, it's a car that was almost a staple of GT racing between the likes of 2000 and maybe even 6 all the way up to 2010. It's a car that's been around for a while. Doesn't look quite as complicated or as messy as some of the newer GT3 cars. Now we've had another track limits warning here come through, but this time for the 888 car, and that is for track limits at turn 13. I think that's the first time this weekend that we've seen turn 13 cause a track limits infringement. That's the little chicane before the final corner. So it seems like the Porsche of Perrin has just cut that a little bit too fine. Race leader does the fastest lap of the race, 153.9 to the 154.1 of Stefan Perrin. But still only 1.5 seconds between the two of them, so it's still mighty close. They're both getting away from Patrick Michellier at a rate of knots as well. But he won't mind that as long as he's still in for a podium position. We look here at car 351. Currently running in 4th position, that's Andreas Boris, the Danish driver in his second race of the day. Now that is track limits if I've ever seen it. Really cuts over the curb on the inside. Maybe a little bit too much for the race director's liking. Track limits at turn 15 as well for car number 8. Now he's trying to get ahead of the number 350 Ferrari of Maurizio Fondi. So I wonder how long it'll be before he tries another move there. He's still right behind him. You can see just how much the nose of that Ferrari dips down into the surface when they get on the brakes. But again, he was quite aggressive over track limits for just a moment there. Hard onto the brakes now, dives down. And swooping out of turn 12. So this is turn 13 where the Porsche got told off track limits there. That left-hander, very easy to cut those parts of the circuit and then run wide on the exit of turn 14. There is the black and white flag going out. It's not going out to the 73 car, but it's going out to the number 8 machine at this present moment. That's Marírez in 7th position, ahead of fellow Porsche, driven by Zafiratos, Andrei Zafiratos. Seems like a lot of them are cutting the track limits quite finely on the right-hand side there. Lovely looking racing car though, isn't it? The 296 challenge car, driven by Patrick Michellier. He's done a personal best sector 1, which is good going. With 14 minutes left of this race, not quite at the halfway point yet, but everybody's settled their initial battles. And now it's a case of the drivers getting back into a rhythm and seeing what they can do. The battle actually is mainly for the lead. It's 1.1 seconds between Alexis Berthet and Stefan Perrin. Alexis holding on at the moment, but the Porsche seemingly coming into a decent operating window now. And you can see it there, look, he's starting to really catch up with him. And from about that distance back as well, the Porsche will gain quite a decent amount of slipstream. The car is very slippery in a straight line. When you see any Porsche Cup races, you realise just how important the slipstream is with those machines. The Lamborghini doesn't always provide a massive amount of dirty air in its own racing series, but there'll be a little bit of what we call tow, keeping the Porsche in the mix here. The lap times last time round, though, were much in favour of Alexis Berthet. He was a good 1/10.5 quicker on that previous circulation. But the Porsche, again, another car similar to the LMP3s that we saw in the way that its body language is very apparent. You can see the car bouncing around on the circuit. You see all 4 corners reacting with the curbs and to what the driver is doing. The nose dives down towards the track as soon as he gets on the brakes, very aggressively, like the Ferrari 488 Challenge cars. Now they get past the lap traffic. That is Gregoire Benedet in car 96. He moves over very kindly, makes sure that he is predictable for the other cars to get around. And as we just glance the halfway point of the race, the gap is now back under a second. Now here's an interesting car that we didn't see in the earlier race, the Ferrari 458 Challenge car. Always looked like the rear wing was a little bit too small for it, but it's a great, great machine. It was the first sort of modernised Ferrari Challenge car they did after the 360s that they had years and years ago. And the 458 now completely renowned by Ferrari owners all over the world for being the last one with the properly high revving, naturally aspirated V8 instead of moving over to turbocharged V8s and then of course V6s. The 458 is a real fan favourite, has to be said. They had a lot of different versions of this car. They never made a GT4 version, but this was the closest thing that came to it, having its own sort of challenge competition. There was a 458 GT3, there was a 458 GTE and GT2 as well. Racing in all corners of the world in all different competitions. It's great to see it still being run and put through its paces here by Simone Conti. Trying to chase down his effectively teammate car of Andreas Boris, 351. He's got another teammate car behind him actually as well, Maurizio Fondi, in 6th position. We've had the race leading car, that one just there, good timing by the director, have its first warning for track limits. That is down at turn 15, so that's the exit of the final corner. They'll be running wide, trying to use all the track. There's quite a hefty curb there, so I believe it'll be more down to when all 4 wheels just go over the white line, because they could run so far out on that curb if they were allowed to use the whole thing. But at the moment, Berthet holding on to that lead now. He's got it back up from 0.8 of a second to just under 1.2. Seems like it's a bit of a bungee cord attached to the back of that Lamborghini. Perrin just drops away a bit, and then all of a sudden the next lap he closes in drastically again. Have to see how that bungee cord effect remains until the end of the race. A little bit of a wiggle on the way into turn 12 there for Berthet. Looked like he went to turn the front end in, and then it decided that it didn't quite want to do that. Through turn 13 and 14. Again, a corner that we saw both of these cars get told off at previously. A flash of the lights there, actually, from Stéphane Perrin, clearly trying to get into the head of Alexis Berthet. And through the final corner, well, it looked like he was closing in. But that's simply because Perrin went way too deep on the entrance to the corner, too busy flashing the lights to hit the brakes by the look of it. There's the black and white flag being held out by the marshals. That is for the race leading car, number 37. Here's number 57, Zafir Artos in the Porsche, trying to close in on Jeremy Moreira. 9.8 seconds between the pair of them. And on that previous lap, Moreira was considerably quicker, actually, 1.1 seconds on the last circulation. So looks like Zafiros not able to quite keep with him at the moment. Car 73 now getting its first track limits warning. That again coming from turn 13 now. So the driver is seemingly trying to cut that part of the circuit a little bit more than we're used to seeing at the minute. Most of the track limits warnings, almost all of them this weekend, have come from turn 15. But now, seems like they're taking liberties elsewhere instead. Always looks like the cars are going way too deep into the hairpin there, but they just try and square the corner off to give themselves a bit of a slingshot on the exit. If you try and hug the apex all the way around there, you'd be slowing the car down a bit too much to utilise the full width of the track. And back to our lead battle. You can really tell how the lighting has dropped here at Mugello. You can see the reflection on the circuit from the headlights on the Porsche especially. That Lamborghini not looking too comfortable in the race lead right now. Alexis Berthet pushing hard, but is he pushing enough to keep away from Stéphane Perrin? Now, they may be in 2 different classes, so they're both going to get a class win even if they swap positions here. But obviously they want the bragging rights as, oh, dearie me, that is the Ferrari of, that's Benjamin, yeah, it's the Mardine Benjamin, that was the name. I couldn't quite see it on the timing screen from here, but yeah, Mardine Benjamin over at the side of the road. That's a massive shame. The F430 challenge car over to one side. I think he was just to the right of shot off there, was he not? On the exit of Arrabbiata 2. No, it must be further around the lap. But still, big shame. No, there is the yellow flag, so it's just after turns 9 and 10. And it's quite close to the circuit still, is that Ferrari, so hopefully they can move that before they may need to bring out anything other than a yellow flag. But it's slightly away from the racing line. I suppose it's considered on the inside of the corner, but it's more that the car is halfway down the straight is where the drama lies, but we'll see. Race continues on with 7 minutes left on the clock. As we look here at the Ferrari 351, the 488 challenge car. My Andreas Boris behind the wheel. And now move on to the F430 GT. Lovely looking race car of Gregoire Benedet. He's now gained a position as a result of the sister car dropping out of the race. Just taking it nice and gingerly through turns 2 and 3. We now have a green flag in Sector 2, leading into Sector 3, so all of that's been cleared up. Good stuff by the marshals and the officials down there. Wonder if they've just managed to get the car to a place of safety, whether it's behind the barrier or just further away from the circuit in general. All has been deemed all above board. And the 96 car at the moment that we look at here is on its way to a top 10. Car 350 has had a track limits infringement at turn 13 as well now. It's a bit of lap traffic for our leaders. There's Arau in the Audi trying to keep out of the way, although he puts it in the middle of the road and then back out to the outside line again. Stefan Perrin maybe just had to second guess that on his way into the corner before he committed to too much. The gap between them just over a second. And it is still McEllier in third position. Now we've had a second track limits infraction for the race leading car down at turn 13. So the race leading Lamborghini of Alexis Berthet needs to be careful through that part of the circuit now to make sure he doesn't do it again. Well, he needs to be careful over the whole thing, of course, but particularly he's been taking no prisoners through turn 13 more than anywhere else. Perrin doing a good job at the moment, being nice and clean, just not making any mistakes, but the pace difference just isn't enough to surpass the Lamborghini. Like I say, it's almost like there's a bungee cord on that Lambo. And he's dropped away anywhere up to a second and a half as, oh, there was a small piece of something flicked up there. The Lamborghini went very deep over the curb. There's a small panel of something popped up from the Porsche, but I'm not sure if he was just running over that from another car. And oh, Berthet's been held up here by Zafir Artos. This could affect the lead battle. Moves over to the left-hand side. I'd imagine if he wouldn't be too pleased with that. Perrin looks to the inside, but it's just a little fake for now to fill the mirrors of the Lamborghini. Tucks it to the apex on the inside of turn 15. And this is where the Lamborghini can stretch its legs now. Perrin was saying to Claire on the grid that he didn't have the same sort of power as that car that he's chasing, and that's where the difference lies. It's just at the top end, that Lamborghini is so slippery in a straight line. You can see it's carved out a few car lengths before they get to the braking zone of turn 1, but look how squirrely Berthet looks compared to Perrin. Only 4 minutes or less than that of this race left to go. And we have a very intriguing chase on for the race lead. This is just going to take another bit of bad lap traffic or just a slight mistake from Berthet, and Perrin will be there to take advantage and pick up the pieces from what was second track limits warning going out to the number 8 car of Jeremy Moreira, also at turn 13, so he needs to be careful of that now to make sure he doesn't overdo it again. You can see the flashing boards out of the window here as Berthet is starting to run really wide through some of these higher speed corners around the back end of the circuit. Arrabbiata dealt with pretty nicely on this lap, it seems. But it just looks like Perrin is the one that's a little bit more composed, based on the body language of the car anyway. Obviously, we don't know what's going on underneath the helmet of these guys, but yeah, having the body language as our only visual cue, I'd say that Perrin looks a little bit more comfortable and at home. There's the number 8 Porsche, currently running in 7th place, the aforementioned Jeremy Moreira, who got a track limits warning from this very corner here. This is the second lap in a row now where the race leader has caught a Porsche in that sector of the track. Another flash of the lights by Perrin, really piling the pressure on now, almost into the back of the Lamborghini as they head into turn 15. Tries to come off the brakes just to flow through the corner as much as possible, carry that mid-corner speed. There's 2 minutes left on the clock as they cross the line. The lap times they've been doing are around 1:55s. Fastest lap of the race, still a 1:53.9 by Alexis Berthet. So we will have this lap they've just started and then one more before this race is complete. I think Berthet is going to be hoping that he can just stretch out enough of an advantage, but he takes the risk of pushing a bit too hard and then making a mistake. It just looks and sounds so brilliant though, doesn't it, that Lamborghini? The Porsche is also a stunning car, makes a great noise as well, but when it shares the circuit with the Evo 2, it just pales in comparison. But again, Berthet very wide mid-corner through the left-hander down at Cervelli. Through the Arrabbiata corners, they're both really wide over the curbs. You can see that they're both slightly unsettled as they get back off those curbs. The car catches the outer lip with its inner wheels. The drivers have to second guess the sort of turning point through there with the blind exit. Stefan Perrin, he really does love that headlight flash button, doesn't he? These cars are equipped with such buttons where you press it once and you probably get about 5 or 6 flashes from the headlights each time you press it. It's not always a manual on and off. As he really cuts across at turn 14 that time round, flashing lights again up to turn 15. He's just filling the mirrors, moving to the left-hand side to try and put some pressure on Alexis Berthet. There's one more lap to go here, and a great chase on for this lead. Stefan Perrin is throwing everything he can at this, but Alexis Berthet is just about holding on. 5 seconds left. They cross the line now, literally just as the clock gets down to having a few moments left on it. And this will be the final lap of the race here in the second race of the weekend in the Ultimate GT Sprint Cup. Don't forget 2 more of these to come over the weekend. The 96 car trying not to get in the way. These guys on a bit of a compromise line now through turn 2. They gather their thoughts back up for turn 3. Hopping back up onto the curb, and again, Stefan Perrin still flashing the lights. Every time he gets onto a straight bit, he's just straight on the button. It's good to see that Alexis Berthet seems undeterred by the light flashing. And he's using that Lamborghini to its best ability. Really pushing through that part of the circuit there, up through Arrabbiata for the final time. Trail braking on the way in as well, just to stabilise the car slightly. Get the rotation that he wants. Bleed off the brakes. It's all about being really smooth now, especially in cars like these that are built to their own manufacturer's specification for their own series. They don't fit into a GT3 or GT4 category in particular. They have such unique handling characteristics. And each of these drivers certainly mastering them at the moment. Berthet's only got 2 corners left to, well, I think the word is survive, ahead of Stefan Perrin. Perrin flashing the lights, looks to the inside once more into turn 15. I don't think he's sent it deep enough, although he looks to the inside, he's hugged it to the apex. It's literally going to be a run to the line. And unfortunately for Stefan Perrin, that's only ever going to be won by the Lamborghini. And the race itself is won by the Lamborghini as Alexis Berthet takes the victory here at Mugello. Great second place though for Stefan Perrin, a great show put on by the pair of them. A lovely chase all the way to the flag. And third place is going to go the way of Patrick Michellier in the number 73 Ferrari. Car 96 has crossed the line and completed the race. And then number 8 is going to be next up, which is the Porsche of Jeremy Moreira. Car 73 just round in the final corner now with Patrick Michellier at the wheel. There is the number 8 Porsche just coming up over the crest. And Michellier takes the podium for his team with Andrei Zafiratos just behind him in the number 57 Porsche. He finishes second in class. It's a winning class for Jeremy Moreira, a winning class for Patrick Michellier, Stefan Perrin and Alexis Berthet. They all win their own classes. Gregoire Benedet, the only car in his class, so he wins that one. He gets a top 10 overall this time though, finishing ahead of Mardine Benjamin. A real shame to see that F430 pull over and not complete the race this time around. 7 laps completed, and 7 laps from the end it would turn out. There is the third place finishing car overall, Patrick Michellier's Ferrari. Shame not to see the other 296 out on the circuit that won the first race of the day. Car 353, which was driven by Lyle Schofield, was billed to be driven by Paolo Ruberti this time. As car 351 crossing line, completing the race, it'll have 2 of its teammate cars behind it. That's Andreas Boris finishing in 4th. Next up is Simone Conti, flashing the lights of the Ferrari 458, and then it's the 488 of Maurizio Fondi that completes the field. making a great noise as it crosses the line as well. Now, a lot of the cars will go through the first sector here and then head down the shorter route of the circuit. They'll turn right at turn 7 instead of turning left and head back down into the pit lane and of course the paddock. And they still have 2 more races to prepare for over the rest of the weekend. The third race for them coming up to start our action tomorrow at 9 AM, and then at 3:45 in the afternoon, the final race of the weekend for the Ultimate GT Sprint Cup. A very clean race once again though, with no contact, no incidents between any of the drivers. All the lap traffic behaved itself as well. Just a shame, unfortunately, that one of the cars, the Ferrari F430, did not behave itself. And hopefully it's not too much of a headache for the team to figure out overnight, and they will get that car back out on circuit for both of the races that we expect to see it in tomorrow. There's the classification at the end then. Alexis Berthet takes the victory from Stefan Perrin, with Patrick Michellier grabbing a podium, all 3 of them winning their individual classes. Andreas Boris, Simone Conti and Maurizio Fondi next up, with Jeremy Moreira winning his class ahead of Andrei Zafiratos. A win as well in class for Gregoire Benedet in top 10 position for the Ferrari. That being one of the 2 F430s that we have on the circuit. So we'll cut to some highlights and we'll catch you again tomorrow for more of the Ultimate GT Sprint Cup. More racing to come this afternoon though with the Endurance Prototype Cup.
We gonna go.